Peace, infinite waters, diving deep once again. Peace, love, and harmony to all of you wonderful deep divers. Another beautiful day. I hope you're taking care of yourself. Look, I made that video on Ocean Gate, okay? And it went viral. A lot of people writing to me, thousands of people. Thanks so much for making this video, Ralph, because I love how you take big news stories so we can understand them, and also how you show us we can use it as a lesson learned to become our greatest versions, right? So there's another news story that's actually unfolding, which is very important. And we're talking about this situation between Russia and Russia. Not just Russia and Ukraine right now. But you see, Moscow is bracing itself for war. Because this general, Yevgeny Prigozhin, who was once an ally to Putin, has actually said thousands of his troops have been killed by Putin, and he is waging a whole full-out war on Putin. Is that he's actually already captured southern Russia, and he's heading to Moscow. Now, why is this important, and how can we learn from this? You see, this is a whole story of where the world is right now. It's in a state of war. Russia and Ukraine, but also many human beings are at war with themselves. So we're going to take a look at this story, break it down. I'm going to tell you what they're not talking to you about, what they're not telling you. It's all about to kick off. And also how we can use this story to become our greatest versions, okay? I want everybody to hit that like button if you support the real. Hit that like button right now if you support the real. We're about to dive deep. Deep divers, are you ready? Apparently so. A lot of people, they always feel that maybe World War III is going to happen. Well, a lot of people may be right. Because you see, with this Russia and Ukraine war, and now Russia against itself, with the head of Wagner, Prigozhin, already capturing southern Russia, and now on his way to Moscow. This is a huge cause for concern because it's going to affect you. It is going to affect you. Just like the Russia and Ukraine war has affected everyone, not just in Europe, but the whole world, okay? Gas prices gone up, electricity prices gone up. It's happening. Someone actually asked me, deep divers, they're like, please, can you talk about this Russia and Wagner situation? Like, this is scary, Ralph. This is crazy, Ralph. Like, Russia is turning against itself, right? And this has huge implications, huge ramifications, huge effects for the whole of the world, because this could be a catalyst for a greater war that might affect you. So we're going to talk about it all. But first, let's breathe. Woo! Breathing in that good ass prana, baby. Raising the frequency, raising the vibration. I'm FaceTiming you right now, deep divers. If you are watching this video, I want you to remind yourself there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. Don't give up. Keep moving forward, and great things can happen. And we ain't even had breakfast yet. Can I get a hello? So deep divers, I actually came across this story and I'm like, oh, this is crazy. So you're saying that Russia is actually now against itself and the enemy is within, and Prigozhin has already captured southern Russia, a city there, and Prigozhin is actually on his way to Moscow. So this is crazy. This is like a huge civil war happening, and it's also going to affect you. But how can we learn from this situation? Because I always say, war, yeah, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. There's a reason why humanity is where it's in, because it still has to learn war is never the answer, but there's a reason why it's happening. So let me just talk about this story And let's hear. I got a video to play you, deep divers. And I'm also going to talk to you about what they're not talking to you about, what they're not telling you. We're going to break it all down. But listen to this, okay?
Breaking news, armored vehicles on the streets of Moscow. As Russian state media this hour says security measures have been stepped up in Moscow. State media also saying Putin is aware of a situation unfolding around Yevgeny Prigozhin, the chief of the private Wagner army. The situation so serious tonight that state television broke into scheduled programming, broke into it to deliver this message to the Russian people from the Russian Ministry of Defense.
All the messages and video footage spread on social networks on behalf of Evgeny Prigozhin that the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation allegedly carried out strikes on the rear camps of Wagner PMC is not true and is an informational provocation.
Breaking into programming to tell Russian people not to listen to Prigozhin while armored vehicles are on the streets of Moscow. These developments coming after Prigozhin today essentially declared war on the Russian military because he did. He accused them of deliberately striking his fighters and of killing a, quote, huge amount of them. And then he vowed to punish those who did it.
Okay, so that's very important. Very, very important, because now you have Russia going against itself. Because once again, Putin had to come out and make a public announcement, state of emergency for people in Moscow. And you've got Prigozhin, who is very angry. But you see, once again, they used to be on the same team. And this is very important. So let me play you another video, deep divers.
Обращаюсь к гражданам России, к личному составу вооруженных сил, правоохранительных органов и специальных служб, к бойцам и командирам, которые сейчас сражаются на своих боевых позициях, отбивают атаки противника. Делают это героически, зная, сегодня еще раз ночью говорил с командующими всех направлений. Обращаюсь и к тем, кого обманом или угрозами втянули в преступную авантюру, толкнули на путь тяжкого преступления, вооруженного мятежа. Россия сегодня ведет тяжелейшую борьбу за свое будущее, отражает агрессию неонацистов и их хозяев. Против нас направлена фактически вся военная, экономическая, информационная машина Запада. Мы боремся за жизнь и безопасность наших людей, за наш суверенитет и независимость, за право быть и оставаться Россией, государством с тысячелетней историей. Эта битва, когда решается судьба нашего народа, требует единения всех сил, единства, консолидации и ответственности, когда в сторону должно быть отброшено все, что ослабляет нас.
I could go on with that, but he's saying the whole West is against Russia, and this is why you have to be very careful, because this could be a catalyst for World War III. When an animal feels caged in, they're going to lash out, and Russia is like, the whole West is against us. Now Prigozhin, someone I was once an ally with, Wagner, are now coming into Moscow. This is huge. So you have to pay very close attention. Let me play you a video again of the head of Wagner. Then I'm going to break down what's really going on, what they're not telling you. And also we're going to dive into spiritual warfare.
Мы находимся в штабе, 7 часов 30 минут утра, под контролем военные объекты Ростова, в том числе аэродром. Самолеты, которые уходят для боевой работы, уходят штатно, проблем никаких нету. Санитарные борта уходят, проблем нет. Все, что делается, это мы взяли под контроль, чтобы штурмовая авиация не наносила удары по нам, а наносила по украинцам. Главный штаб управления, главный пункт управления работает в штатном режиме. Проблем никаких нет, ни один офицер не оторван. Поэтому, когда вам будут рассказывать о том, что ЧВК «Вагнер» помешало работе и поэтому на фронте что-то посыпалось. На фронте посыпалось не поэтому. Когда мы пришли сюда, то мы еще раз подтвердили много новое. Огромное количество территорий потеряно. Солдат убитых в 3-4 раза больше, чем это в документах подается наверх. А то, что подается, это в 10 раз меньше, чем говорят по телевизору. Санитарные потери в день составляют некоторые дни до 1000 человек. Это убитые, без вести пропавшие, раненые и так называемые отказники, которые отказываются не потому, что они струсили, я уже говорил, а потому что у них выхода нету, боеприпасов нет, управления нет. Начальник генерального штаба бежал отсюда, как только узнал о том, что мы подходим к зданию.
So, you see, this whole situation is a huge cause for concern. It's all about to kick off. And what we can learn from this is that even people who were once allies can become enemies. Because you see, in the Roman times, a general had a private army, right? Generals had their own armies as well. And this is exactly what Prigozhin has. He's got his whole army, 25,000 deep. And this is a huge threat to Putin. It's never ever happened before. And it's going to affect the whole of Europe. And it could potentially lead into nuclear arms, a World War III, a whole Armageddon scenario. This is the reason why I told you, pay attention, not to be afraid, but to be informed. Even though this situation seems negative, like I said, there's always a positive in every negative situation. I like that. Slow motion this side. There's always a positive in every negative situation. There's always a positive in every negative situation. And the positive is that, hey, you got to focus on yourself right now. The whole world is a stage. In this matrix, they are creating wars, pandemics, and all of these things. And right now, you got to focus on yourself. Remind yourself to be the change that you wish to see in the world. That is key. And this is how we free ourselves and become our greatest versions. Let me play you another video that is really breaking down this story in a very simple way.
So this is pretty breaking news. It looks like Russia has a coup going on against it. The Wagner mercenary group, they're just a hired military that have been doing their dirty work in Africa and then now against Ukraine and Bakhmut and other areas. Now they're alleging that they've been shot at with missiles from Russia. They're essentially declaring a civil war, a coup, against the Russian military. And as you can see, some fighting's already started. Russia is preparing to fight these guys, and Wagner is about to fight them, if not already. It's about to get spicy, so buckle up.
So buckle up. Like I told you, you want to prepare yourself for what's coming. The whole world right now is in big trouble because you see, whatever happens in Russia, Ukraine, that area is going to affect not only Europe, the whole world, the whole economy. You see, already Russia have formed alliances called the BRICS. That's Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Now even Saudi Arabia are in talks of joining, forming a new currency, right? So it's going to be them against the West. This is the reason why I told you the world is in a shaky place right now. Even the cat down the road is like, the world is looking a little bit shaky, baby, because you see, you have to pay attention to what's happening. Now, meanwhile, Elon Musk and Zuckerberg are in talks of having a boxing match, right? Like I told you, all of these things are distractions and is showing you the collapse of an entire civilization right now. Joe Rogan, okay, had Kennedy on, Robert Kennedy, talking about COVID and all of these things. He challenged Peter Hotez, a doctor, to say, hey, let's have a debate. And they don't want to have a debate. So this is showing you that even the people who are doctors, they don't want to debate people who can challenge them about everything that happened over the last few years. This is crazy. And this is another war, a war of information. We're in a war right now of information, because everyone is not telling you the truth. And this is the reason why I told you how we can learn from this situation to become our greatest versions is to focus on yourself. Remind yourself you can't trust anybody. You can't trust the leaders, the politicians, your governments, the media. You have to trust yourself. You've got to use your intuition. You've got to focus on yourself, because right now, everybody has an agenda. Everybody has an agenda. And when we talk of becoming our greatest versions, we have to remind ourselves that the reason why humanity is in the position it's in right now, the reason why humanity is in the predicament it's in right now, is because it still hasn't found peace within itself. When you aren't at peace with yourself, there will always be a war. Slow motion this side. You might say, Ralph, I don't want to focus on this situation between Russia and Prigozhin and Russia and Ukraine and all of these things. Well, it's going to catch up with you. You have to be aware of what's going on, because it's here, it's happening. That the whole world is in a big, big state of emergency, because you see tensions are flaring and it's all about to kick off. And what you can do is keep your frequency as high as possible. When all of these things are happening, you want to keep your frequency as high as possible. You want to raise your frequency. You want to raise your vibration. You want to remind yourself that we are the world. And as we change, so does the world. If you want a peaceful world, you must first create peace within yourself. If you want a world that's beautiful, you must first create beauty with yourself. Like the great Krishnamurti said, it is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. The reason why the world is in this state is because it's a tit for tat. Everyone feels wrong done by, hard done by, right? And this is the reason why revenge is also a catalyst for war. Prigozhin says thousands of his troops have been killed, so now it's an all-out war. So Ukraine feel the same way, a war. Russia feel the same way, a war. In life, until someone takes the higher road, the higher stand to say, you know what, let's form a peace treaty, there's always going to be war. And this is the reason why I told you to focus on yourself. The great Krishnamurti said, have you ever wondered why we have leaders? You're supposed to be leading yourself. You're supposed to be listening to yourself. So long as you say, I'm from this country, you're from that country, there's always going to be a war. They separate you in this matrix by division, by putting you against your neighbor. And separation is the greatest illusion. Unity is the greatest truth. And this is the reason why I told you. The good news out of this is to realize that in the matrix, they might blow themselves up. But in the new earth, the fifth dimension, we are realizing that peace is the way forward. We can learn from all of these lessons and say, you know what? This is how not to live. This is how not to live. We don't want to live in war, in low frequencies of fear and anger and revenge. We want to live on a higher frequency of peace, love, and harmony. Deep divers, I want everybody, if you are ready for love, hit that like button right now. If you are ready to support the real, hit that like button right now, deep divers. And that's why I'm just saying, feels so good to be alive, baby. Can I get a hello? There. Woo! Breathing in that good ass prana, baby. Oh yes. Go and check out that new book, Deep Divers. Feel Alive by Ralph Smart on Amazon. And at ralphsmart.com/the book, the Bible of becoming your greatest version. Also, go and check out the latest new book of 1111 Infinite Quotes by Ralph Smart, The Secret Recipe to Becoming Your Greatest Version, at ralphsmart.com/the book. Also, go and get the Good Ass Prana shirts, all new limited design shirts at ralphsmart.com/clothes and spreadshirt.com if you're in America. Here to remind you, deep divers, every single day, we must remind ourselves, we must be the change we wish to see in the world. You must be the change that you wish to see in the world. And together we can create a better world. Are you ready for that, deep divers? I'm ready for that. Peace, infinite waters, diving deep once again. Stay well, stay healthy, peace. Yo! Once again, deep divers, hit that like button if you support the real. Hit that like button if you support the real. It's one love. Deep divers all day, every day. One love. Peace.